I grew up not knowing who my biological father was, and as a result of that, it took a tremendous toll on my life. As a matter of fact, I spent many years trying to find him. He's not Jamaican, I'm Jamaican, he's not Jamaican. I was told that he was living in England, then he moved to Africa, and each time I questioned and I checked what's his location, I was always told that he is in some other country traveling, and it made me come to a place of complete depression. And I remember for several years, as it got closer and closer to my actual birthday, I suffered from tremendous depression, and I wondered, could it have been something that I did? What is the reason why he left me? And so I got to a place where the Holy Spirit helped me to realize that I cannot stop my life, I cannot put my purpose on pause, I cannot deter my destiny because of someone else's action of walking out on my life. And it was at that moment that I took responsibility. Now, with that being said, there comes a time in your life where you have to literally take responsibility for your life. Responsibility for what you will become and what you will do is not in someone else's hand. It doesn't matter how close that person is to you. It doesn't matter what you lost or who you lost. It doesn't matter who has disappointed you. You have to take responsibility for the fact that people will disappoint you and people will walk out on your life, that things will not go the way you had expected or hoped for them to go. But in the end, you have to realize that there comes a point where you have to get up, you have to brush yourself off, and you have to begin to continue doing this thing that is called life. What I've learned is that 90% of the times, perhaps 99% of the times, the people that hurt you, sometimes they intentionally do it and sometimes they're doing it ignorantly. And after they have hurt you and done you wrong, they move on and they carry on with their own lives. Now, while they have moved on and carried on with their own lives, you are the one who is stuck harboring and harnessing the things that they have done to you. So I'm saying to you today, you need to take control and responsibility of your life. The responsibility is not in someone else's hand. It's not in someone else's support. It's not in someone else's attention. It's not in someone else's opinion or approval. You have to take responsibility and say, whether people support me or not, I'm going to be great. Whether people walk out on my life or not, I am going to be great. Whether people support me, whether people mock or ridicule me, it is my responsibility to be great. When I was growing up, my mother did not have a lot of money, and there are a lot of things that I did not grow up with. I used to see my cousins traveling to America, overseas. I used to see them getting the latest of gadgets. I used to see my neighbors having cable, and the only thing that I had was 2 TV channels, CVM TV and TVJ, and most of the times neither of them worked. I literally had to go outside and put like a bamboo stick, if you know what a bamboo stick is, and I used to have to turn it to see if I could get a proper channel, to see if I could get to watch at least one cartoon. When I looked at that, it put me in a place of wanting to work harder to change my life. I made up in my mind, I took responsibility that even though I started in this place, I was not going to end in this place. And so my responsibility is not to permit or allow myself to end the way that I started. It is my responsibility to take action for the change that I want to see. It is my responsibility to act on my vision and not wait for someone to give me a handout, not wait for someone to help me. It is my responsibility to start where I am and with what I have. I could have stopped and I could have stayed where I was thinking, no one made it out of this country. This is what my family is accustomed to. This is what my family is used to. I do what I see my mother doing and what I used to see my mother doing, my grandmother, my great-grandmother doing. Or I can take responsibility and say that even though this is what runs in my bloodline, I could do greater. Even though this is what I grew up seeing, I could do greater and I could be better. It is my responsibility. I did not have a father or a mother that had it to that extent to pass on a legacy to me, to pass on wealth or businesses or real estate. I did not have anyone to pass this on to me. And so now it has now become my responsibility to strategically position and posture and put myself in a place where I can work, I can grind, I can hustle, and I can make sure that everything that I did not have as a child, everything that I did not have in my young adult years, that I am now putting these things into place so that when my children come, I can be the one to pass a legacy onto them. I'm taking responsibility to be a distributor of wealth. I'm taking responsibility of my life to put a legacy in place, that the things I went through, my children do not have to go through. The struggles I went through, my children do not have to go through. It is my responsibility to not allow my past to define my today, to not allow my today to define my tomorrow. It is my responsibility to ensure that the things that I went through growing up, it does not affect my mental health, my mental stability. It is up to me to learn how to pray. If no one taught me, if no one showed me the way, it is up to me to come to God and allow Him to show me the way. A lot of times people, they put themselves in a place of defeat even before they're already defeated, because your mindset is such a powerful thing. Your perception, the way you view and see things, is so powerful that there are many people that have limited, that has blocked themselves from coming into their destiny and their purpose. It was not what someone said, it was not what someone did, but they assassinated, they self-sabotage their own destiny by thinking that my mother came out to nothing. I went through this, I went through that. People hurt me and people did this to me. You cannot change what people will do. You cannot change what people will think. You cannot make or force anyone to do anything. And so it all comes back to this. It is your responsibility to move ahead of what you have gone through. The things you have gone through does not define you. Where you're coming from certainly does not define you. And so I say to you today that it is your responsibility to pick up the pieces. It's not just the responsibility of your pastor. It's not just the responsibility of your loved one. They can be there to cheer you along the way, because some of you do have people that is cheering you along the way, that is supporting you, that is walking with you hand by hand, side by side. But until you take the responsibility to say, I am going to be better, I am going to work hard, I am going to overcome, I'm going to grind, I'm going to hustle, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning, I'm going to get up, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to change my diet, I'm going to change my mindset, I'm going to change the way I approach things, I'm going to start my business, my YouTube channel, I'm going to write that book. Until you take responsibility, then nothing will change. So you may have the world's best support team around you, but until your mindset changes and until you take responsibility to say that I'm going to do it for me, I'm not doing it for anyone else, I'm not even doing it for my family, but I'm taking responsibility and